From the depths of the ocean to the vast reaches of space, and even some quirky corners of everyday life, these incredible truths are guaranteed to make you question everything you thought you knew. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed, because truth really is stranger than fiction.
The Sahara Desert, one of the hottest and most arid places on Earth, is known for its extreme temperature fluctuations. While daytime temperatures can soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, nighttime temperatures can drop dramatically, sometimes reaching freezing levels. This drastic change occurs due to the desert's unique climate, geography, and lack of moisture in the air. One of the main reasons for these extreme temperature shifts is the low humidity in the Sahara. Deserts typically have very little water vapor in the atmosphere, which means they lack the ability to retain heat. During the day, the sun's intense radiation heats up the sand and rocks, causing scorching temperatures. However, once the sun sets, there is nothing to trap the heat, so it quickly radiates back into the atmosphere, leading to rapid cooling. Another factor contributing to the freezing nighttime temperatures is the lack of cloud cover. In more humid climates, clouds act as insulation, helping to retain some of the heat absorbed during the day. In the Sahara, clear skies allow for an uninterrupted escape of heat, causing temperatures to plummet overnight. Although freezing temperatures are not a daily occurrence, they are common in certain areas of the Sahara, especially during the winter months. Some regions, particularly in higher elevations, have even recorded snowfall, a rare but not unheard of phenomenon. In 1979, for instance, a brief snowstorm was reported in southern Algeria, and in recent years, parts of the Sahara have experienced occasional light snow. Despite these cold nights, desert animals and plants have adapted to survive these extreme conditions. Many desert creatures, such as fennec foxes and jerboas, are nocturnal, meaning they rest during the scorching day and become active at night when temperatures are cooler. Some plants, like cacti and succulents, store water to endure both the heat of the day and the chill of the night. In summary, the Sahara Desert's ability to reach freezing temperatures at night is a direct result of its dry climate, lack of moisture, and clear skies. These extreme temperature swings create a harsh yet fascinating environment where life has evolved to withstand both the intense heat of the day and the unexpected cold of the night.
Canada is home to approximately 60% of the world's polar bear population, making it the most important habitat for these iconic Arctic predators. With an estimated 16,000 of the global 26,000 polar bears residing in Canadian territory, the country plays a crucial role in their conservation and survival. These majestic creatures primarily inhabit the coastal areas of the Arctic, where they rely on sea ice to hunt, travel, and raise their young. The majority of Canada's polar bears are found in Nunavut, Manitoba, the Northwest Territories, Quebec, and Ontario, with notable populations along Hudson Bay, Baffin Island, and the Beaufort Sea. One of the most famous polar bear hotspots is Churchill, Manitoba, often called the polar bear capital of the world. Each fall, hundreds of polar bears gather near the town, waiting for the sea ice to form so they can begin their annual seal hunting season. This migration attracts thousands of tourists and researchers eager to observe the bears in their natural habitat. Polar bears are highly dependent on sea ice, which they use as a platform to hunt their primary prey, seals. They are uniquely adapted to Arctic conditions, with thick fur, a layer of insulating fat, and large pores that help them navigate the icy terrain. However, climate change poses a significant threat to their survival. Rising global temperatures are causing the Arctic ice to melt at an alarming rate, reducing the time polar bears can spend hunting and forcing them to travel greater distances in search of food. This has led to increasing instances of malnutrition, lower birth rates, and more frequent encounters between polar bears and humans as the bears venture inland in search of sustenance. Canada has implemented various conservation efforts to protect its polar bear populations. These include hunting regulations, habitat protection, and partnerships with indigenous communities who have traditionally coexisted with polar bears and play a key role in conservation efforts. Many indigenous groups, such as the Inuit, hold deep cultural and spiritual connections with polar bears and advocate for sustainable management practices that balance conservation with traditional hunting rights. In summary, Canada's vast Arctic landscapes provide a critical habitat for the majority of the world's polar bears. While the country is leading efforts to protect these animals, the ongoing challenges of climate change and habitat loss highlight the urgent need for continued conservation and global action to ensure the survival of this magnificent species.
The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest ocean on Earth, covering an area of approximately 63 million square miles, which is about 165 million square kilometers. This makes it larger than all the land masses on Earth combined, which collectively total about 57.5 million square miles or 149 million square kilometers. In other words, if all the continents were put together, they would still not match the sheer size of the Pacific Ocean. This immense body of water spans from the Arctic in the north to the Southern Ocean in the south and stretches between the continents of Asia, Australia, North America and South America. The Pacific Ocean plays a critical role in regulating the planet's climate, as it covers nearly 1/3 of Earth's surface. Its vast expanse absorbs and distributes heat, helping to moderate global temperatures and influence weather patterns. The ocean is home to some of the most significant climate phenomena, including El Niño and La Niña, which affect global rainfall, hurricanes, and agricultural cycles. Additionally, the Pacific's deep waters store a significant amount of carbon dioxide, making it an essential component of Earth's carbon cycle. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Pacific is its depth. The ocean contains the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the world's oceans, which plunges down to about 36,000 feet or 11,000 meters in the Challenger Deep. This depth is so extreme that if Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, were placed inside the trench, it would still be submerged by more than a mile of water. The Pacific also contains thousands of islands, including entire nations such as Hawaii, the Philippines and Fiji, as well as some of the most remote places on Earth. Historically, the Pacific Ocean has been vital for human exploration, trade and cultural exchange. Ancient Polynesians navigated its vast waters using the stars, winds and ocean currents, settling islands thousands of miles apart. Later, European explorers such as Ferdinand Magellan crossed the Pacific during the Age of Exploration, leading to increased global trade and interaction. Today, the Pacific remains a major economic and geopolitical region, with its waters supporting global shipping routes, fisheries and vast natural resources. Despite its size and significance, the Pacific Ocean faces numerous environmental challenges, including climate change, overfishing and pollution. One of the most well-known ecological concerns is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a massive accumulation of plastic debris caught in the ocean's currents. Rising sea levels also threaten many low-lying Pacific islands, putting their inhabitants at risk of displacement. In summary, the Pacific Ocean is a vast and crucial part of our planet, covering more area than all the continents combined. It influences global climate, supports diverse marine life, and has played a key role in human history. However, its immense size does not make it immune to environmental threats, highlighting the need for global efforts to protect and preserve this incredible ocean for future generations.
Russia, the largest country in the world by land area, spans a staggering 11 time zones, making it the most time zone-spanning nation on Earth. Stretching across over 5,600 miles, or 9,000 kilometers, from its westernmost point in Kaliningrad to its easternmost point near the Bering Strait, Russia covers nearly half of the planet's longitudinal span. This vast expanse means that when one part of the country is experiencing sunrise, another may be in the middle of the night. The 11 time zones of Russia range from Kaliningrad time, which is UTC+2 in the west, to Kamchatka time, which is UTC+12 in the far east. Major cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg follow Moscow time, which is UTC+3, while regions in Siberia and the Russian Far East, such as Vladivostok and Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, observe much later time zones. This wide geographical spread presents logistical challenges, as businesses, government operations, and communication between different regions must accommodate significant time differences. Historically, Russia had more than 11 time zones, but in 2010, the government reduced the number to 9 to simplify administration. However, in 2014, some of the eliminated time zones were restored, bringing the count back to 11. The country does not observe daylight saving time, after abandoning the practice in 2011, keeping its clocks consistent year-round. The sheer number of time zones affects everyday life in Russia in unique ways. For example, when financial markets open in Moscow, traders in the Russian Far East have already ended their workday. Similarly, travelers moving across the country by the Trans-Siberian Railway, which takes about a week to cross Russia, experience multiple time changes along their journey. Even national television programming and sports broadcasts must carefully account for the vast time differences between regions. Despite the challenges, Russia's 11 time zones reflect its immense geographic and cultural diversity, from the bustling metropolises of Moscow and St. Petersburg to the remote wilderness of Siberia and the Pacific coastline. The country's time zones represent its vast and varied landscape. Russia's unique position as a bridge between Europe and Asia makes it a fascinating example of how time and geography shape a nation's identity and daily life.
The Nile River is one of the most famous and historically significant rivers in the world. Stretching approximately 4,135 miles, it is often considered the longest river on Earth, though some debate exists regarding whether the Amazon River might be longer. The Nile flows through 11 countries in northeastern Africa, including Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and Uganda, before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. Despite originating from sources in Central and Eastern Africa, the Nile follows a northward course, which is unusual as most major rivers tend to flow southward or eastward due to gravitational pull and land elevation patterns. The Nile's northward flow is primarily due to the topography of Africa. The river originates from high-altitude sources such as Lake Victoria and the Ethiopian highlands and moves toward lower elevations in the north. While many people assume that rivers always flow south, the truth is that rivers simply follow the path of least resistance, moving from higher to lower elevations rather than adhering to a specific cardinal direction. Since the land in East and Central Africa is significantly higher than the terrain near the Mediterranean, the Nile naturally flows northward. Another unique aspect of the Nile is its immense historical and cultural significance. Ancient Egypt, one of the world's greatest civilizations, relied heavily on the river for agriculture, trade, and daily life. The predictable annual flooding of the Nile deposited nutrient-rich silt onto the surrounding land, making it incredibly fertile for farming. This agricultural prosperity enabled the rise of Egypt's great cities, temples, and pyramids, and the river was deeply ingrained in Egyptian mythology and religion. The Nile River consists of two major tributaries, the White Nile and the Blue Nile. The White Nile, considered the primary and longer branch, originates in East Africa, while the Blue Nile, which provides the majority of the river's water and sediment, starts in the Ethiopian highlands. The two rivers converge in Khartoum, Sudan, and continue their journey northward as a single mighty river. Despite its historical importance, the Nile faces numerous modern challenges, including disputes over water rights, climate change, and pollution. Countries along its path, especially Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, have been engaged in tense negotiations regarding the construction of dams, such as the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which has raised concerns about water access and agricultural sustainability in downstream nations. Ultimately, the Nile's northward flow is a fascinating geographical anomaly, but more importantly, it has been a lifeline for civilizations for thousands of years. Its waters have shaped history, supported countless communities, and continue to play a crucial role in the economy and survival of millions of people today.
Antarctica has no official time zone, making it one of the most unique places on Earth in terms of timekeeping. Unlike other continents, which are divided into distinct time zones based on longitudinal divisions, Antarctica lacks a permanent human population and does not belong to any single country. Because of this, there is no universally recognized time zone assigned to the continent. Instead, timekeeping in Antarctica is determined by the research stations and expeditions operating there, each of which follows a time zone based on convenience rather than geography. One of the main reasons Antarctica lacks an official time zone is its location at the South Pole, where lines of longitude converge. This means that technically every time zone on Earth exists in Antarctica at once. However, since Antarctica is largely uninhabited except for scientists and researchers, it does not follow a structured time system like other continents. Instead, different research stations and bases use time zones based on their home countries or the locations from which they receive supplies. For example, the McMurdo Station, operated by the United States, follows New Zealand Standard Time because supply flights often come from Christchurch, New Zealand. Another factor that complicates timekeeping in Antarctica is its extreme day-night cycles. During the Antarctic summer, which runs from October to March, the continent experiences 24 hours of daylight. Conversely, in the Antarctic winter, from April to September, it faces months of continuous darkness. Because of this, traditional timekeeping based on the movement of the sun becomes meaningless. It's more practical for research stations to align with their home countries or logistical hubs. Different countries operating in Antarctica set their own time zones for their research stations. For example, Argentina and Chile use UTC-3, while Russia's Vostok station follows Moscow Standard Time, which is UTC +3 or +5, depending on daylight saving time in Russia. Some stations adjust their clocks to match nearby supply bases, while others stick to Coordinated Universal Time or UTC to avoid confusion. The lack of an official time zone in Antarctica has minimal impact on daily operations, as scientific research and expeditions follow schedules set by their respective organizations. However, it does create an interesting anomaly in global timekeeping, making Antarctica one of the few places on Earth where time is entirely subjective and flexible.
Greenland is a fascinating geographical anomaly because it extends farther north, south, east and west than Iceland, making it unique in its positioning. At first glance, this may seem counterintuitive, given that both Greenland and Iceland are relatively close in the North Atlantic. However, Greenland's sheer size, it is the world's largest island, allows it to stretch across a vast range of latitudes and longitudes, surpassing Iceland in all four cardinal directions. Greenland's northernmost point is Cape Morris Jesup, which lies at 83.6 degrees north, just 440 miles from the North Pole. In contrast, Iceland's northernmost point, Kolbeinsey, is located at 67.1 degrees north, far to the south. This difference is significant as it places Greenland much closer to the Arctic and within the realm of extreme polar conditions, while Iceland remains relatively milder due to the warming influence of the Gulf Stream. Although Greenland is often associated with the Arctic, its southernmost tip, Cape Farewell, extends down to 59.8 degrees north. This is actually farther south than Reykjavik, Iceland's capital, which sits at 64.1 degrees north. While much of Greenland remains covered in ice, its southern regions, particularly near the coast, experience a more temperate climate during the summer months. Greenland's easternmost point is Nordostrundingen, located at 11.3 degrees west. In comparison, Iceland's easternmost point, Geirpir, sits at 13.5 degrees west. This means that despite Iceland being farther east overall, Greenland's vast landmass extends slightly beyond Iceland's easternmost reach. Greenland's westernmost point, Cape Alexander, is located at 73.1 degrees west, significantly farther west than Iceland's westernmost point, Bjartanga, at 24.5 degrees west. This makes Greenland extend much deeper into the Western Hemisphere, emphasizing its size and geographical dominance in the region. Greenland's vast range in all four directions highlights its enormous geographical scale compared to Iceland. Although both lands are known for their cold climates and Viking history, Greenland's position gives it a much wider variety of weather conditions, ecosystems, and daylight variations throughout the year. Iceland, in contrast, remains more centrally located in the North Atlantic and enjoys a more moderate climate due to ocean currents. This fun geographical fact serves as a reminder of how size and location influence a country's climate, geography, and even its historical development. Despite being closely associated with the Arctic, Greenland's landmass extends into regions that would be considered subarctic or even temperate, making it one of the most geographically diverse islands on Earth.
The Dead Sea, the lowest point on Earth. The Dead Sea is the lowest point on Earth's surface, sitting at approximately 430 meters or 1,410 feet below sea level. Located between Jordan to the east and Israel and Palestine to the west, this hyper-saline lake is one of the most unique natural wonders in the world. Its extreme low elevation makes it a geographical marvel, as no other place on land reaches such depths below sea level. The Dead Sea continues to shrink due to evaporation and water diversion, causing its shoreline to drop even further each year. Why is the Dead Sea so low? The Dead Sea is part of the Jordan Rift Valley, a geological depression formed by the movement of tectonic plates. It lies within the Dead Sea Transform fault system, where the Arabian Plate and the African Plate are slowly pulling apart. Over millions of years, this rift has caused the land to sink, creating one of the lowest basins on Earth. Unlike oceans and other bodies of water that connect to larger waterways, the Dead Sea has no outlet, meaning water only leaves through evaporation. This contributes to its extreme salinity and the continuous lowering of its surface level. The saltiest body of water. With a salinity of about 34%, the Dead Sea is nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean, making it one of the saltiest bodies of water on the planet. This high salt concentration makes it impossible for most aquatic life to survive, which is how the Dead Sea got its name. The extreme salinity also gives it a famous property, natural buoyancy. People can easily float on its surface without any effort, as the dense water provides greater lift than ordinary seawater. Health and historical significance. The Dead Sea has been renowned for its healing properties for thousands of years. The unique mineral composition of the water, including magnesium, potassium and calcium, is believed to have therapeutic benefits for skin conditions like psoriasis and arthritis. Ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians and Romans, highly valued Dead Sea minerals for medicinal and cosmetic purposes. Even Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, was said to have used Dead Sea products for skincare. Environmental challenges. The Dead Sea is shrinking rapidly due to human activities and climate change. The diversion of water from the Jordan River, which is its main water source, has significantly reduced the amount of fresh water reaching the sea. As a result, the water level is dropping at a rate of more than 1 meter, or 3 feet, per year. Large sinkholes have also begun appearing around the shoreline, posing a risk to infrastructure and tourism. Efforts are being made to preserve the Dead Sea, including discussions about building a canal from the Red Sea or the Mediterranean to restore water levels. A geological and cultural wonder. Beyond being the lowest point on Earth, the Dead Sea is a place of immense historical, religious, and geological significance. It is mentioned in ancient texts, including the Bible, and remains a major attraction for scientists, tourists, and wellness seekers. Its surreal landscape, with its salt-crusted shores and shimmering blue waters, makes it one of the most extraordinary places on the planet. Whether for its natural beauty, unique properties, or historical importance, the Dead Sea remains a remarkable and fragile wonder of the world.
Monaco, the tiny country smaller than Central Park. Monaco, the second smallest country in the world, is famous for its luxury, wealth and grand casinos. But one of its most surprising facts is its tiny size. Just 2.1 square kilometers or 0.81 square miles. This means that the entire country of Monaco is smaller than Central Park in New York City, which spans 3.41 square kilometers or 1.32 square miles. Despite its small size, Monaco is one of the most densely populated and wealthiest nations in the world. A tiny nation packed with luxury. Monaco is located on the French Riviera, bordered by France on 3 sides and the Mediterranean Sea to the south. Despite its size, Monaco is a global hub for high-end tourism, banking and entertainment. It is best known for the Monte Carlo Casino, the Monaco Grand Prix, and its status as a tax haven. The country has a population of around 40,000 people, making it one of the most densely populated places on Earth. With land being incredibly scarce, Monaco has expanded through land reclamation projects, adding more space along the coast. Central Park versus Monaco, a size comparison. Central Park, a large urban park in the heart of Manhattan, is bigger than Monaco in terms of land area, covering 843 acres compared to Monaco's 519 acres. Central Park serves as a green oasis within a bustling city, while Monaco is a densely built-up area filled with skyscrapers, luxury apartments and high-end shops. However, despite being smaller, Monaco functions as an independent sovereign nation, complete with its own government, monarchy and economy, whereas Central Park is simply a section of New York City. Monaco's small size does not limit its global influence. It is famous for attracting billionaires, celebrities and royalty, largely due to its no-income tax policy and luxurious lifestyle. Property prices in Monaco are among the highest in the world, with real estate often selling for over $50,000 per square metre. The country hosts major international events such as the Monaco Grand Prix, one of the most prestigious Formula One races, and the Monaco Yacht Show, attracting the world's elite. Though Monaco is smaller than Central Park, it operates as a fully independent country with a booming economy, an influential cultural scene, and a reputation for extreme wealth and exclusivity. This comparison highlights just how compact Monaco is, proving that size does not determine global impact. Despite its tiny footprint, Monaco remains one of the most glamorous and intriguing places in the world.
Deep in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan lies a massive fiery crater known as the Door to Hell. This surreal burning pit, officially called the Darvaza gas crater, has been burning continuously for over 50 years. It is one of the most unusual and eerie natural phenomena in the world, drawing scientists, adventurers, and curious travelers to witness its unearthly glow. The Darvaza gas crater was not a naturally occurring phenomenon. It was actually created by accident in 1971 during a Soviet drilling operation. Soviet geologists were exploring the Karakum Desert for natural gas reserves when they unintentionally punctured an underground gas pocket, causing the ground to collapse. This resulted in a 70-meter, 230 feet wide, and 30-meter, 98 feet deep crater, from which large amounts of methane gas began leaking into the air. To prevent the spread of toxic methane gas, The geologists decided to set the crater on fire, assuming the gas would burn off within a few weeks. However, instead of extinguishing quickly, the fire has continued to burn for over 5 decades, fueled by the vast natural gas reserves beneath the desert. Scientists are still uncertain how much gas remains, or when the flames will eventually die out. Despite its dangerous and eerie appearance, the door to hell has become one of Turkmenistan's most famous tourist attractions. The flames burn day and night, creating an otherworldly glow that can be seen from miles away, especially in the dark. Tourists and explorers travel to the remote site to witness the blazing inferno, making it a symbol of the country's vast and largely untapped natural gas resources. Although the burning crater has fascinated visitors for years, the Turkmen government has expressed concerns over its environmental impact and waste of valuable natural gas. In 2022, Turkmenistan's President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov announced plans to find a way to extinguish the fire and seal the crater. However, given the crater's history and the difficulty of stopping the underground gas flow, no successful attempt has been made so far. The door to hell remains one of the most bizarre and visually stunning landmarks on Earth. What started as a failed Soviet drilling project has turned into a permanent fire pit, capturing global attention and reminding us of the unpredictable power of nature. Whether it continues to burn for another 50 years or is eventually extinguished, the Darvaza gas crater will remain an extraordinary part of Turkmenistan's landscape and history.
To make you question everything you thought you knew.
One of the most surprising facts in the world of film and television is that the legendary voice of Yoda from Star Wars is also the voice behind Miss Piggy from The Muppets. Both characters were brought to life by the incredibly talented Frank Oz, a puppeteer, director and voice actor whose work has shaped some of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history. Born in 1944, Frank Oz, born Frank Richard Osnowitz, began his career as a puppeteer working with Jim Henson, the creator of The Muppets. He quickly became a key member of the Muppets team, performing some of the most famous characters, including Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal and Sam the Eagle. His ability to bring distinct personalities to life through voice and movement made him one of the most respected puppeteers in the industry. In 1980, Oz was chosen by Star Wars creator George Lucas to voice and perform Yoda, the wise and ancient Jedi Master who first appeared in The Empire Strikes Back. Using his puppeteering skills, Oz gave Yoda a unique speech pattern, wise yet humorous mannerisms, and a voice that became instantly recognizable. His performance helped make Yoda one of the most iconic and beloved characters in the Star Wars universe. And Miss Piggy, one of the Muppets' most famous characters, is a bold, glamorous and sometimes temperamental pig who is madly in love with Kermit the Frog. Oz gave her a strong and dramatic voice, full of sass, confidence and comedic timing. She became a fan favorite due to her larger-than-life personality and famous karate chops. While Yoda and Miss Piggy are vastly different characters, one a wise, an ancient Jedi Master and the other a fashion-forward, dramatic diver, Frank Oz managed to bring both to life in a way that made them instantly memorable. Yoda's gravelly, philosophical tone contrasts sharply with Miss Piggy's high-pitched, demanding voice, showcasing Oz's incredible range as a voice actor. Beyond Yoda and Miss Piggy, Frank Oz has had a remarkable career as a director and performer. He has directed several films, including The Dark Crystal, The Muppets Take Manhattan, Little Shop of Horrors, and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. His contributions to both Star Wars and The Muppets have made him a legend in the world of puppetry and film. It's hard to believe that the same person who gave us Yoda's calm wisdom also created Miss Piggy's over-the-top personality. Frank Oz's incredible talent for voice acting and puppeteering has left an unforgettable mark on pop culture. Whether you're watching a Star Wars film or a Muppet show, chances are you're hearing the work of a true master of his craft.
The Simpsons holds the record as the longest-running scripted television show in history. a title it has maintained for decades. Premiering on December 17, 1989, the animated sitcom created by Matt Groening has become a cultural phenomenon, influencing generations of viewers, comedians and television writers. With over 750 episodes and counting, the show continues to entertain audiences with its satirical take on American life. Before becoming a full-fledged series, The Simpsons started as a series of short animated sketches on The Tracey Ullman Show in 1987. These brief clips introduced the world to Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa and Maggie Simpson, a dysfunctional yet lovable family living in the fictional town of Springfield. Due to their popularity, Fox executives decided to develop the shorts into a standalone show, which officially debuted in 1989. Since its debut, The Simpsons has shattered multiple records. It became the longest-running American primetime animated series and surpassed Gunsmoke in 2018 as the longest-running scripted primetime TV series. With more than 35 seasons, the show has remained a staple of television history, influencing countless other animated series like Family Guy, South Park and Rick and Morty. Beyond its longevity, The Simpsons has had a profound cultural impact. The show's characters, catchphrases and satirical humour have become embedded in pop culture. Lines like "Dough," Homer's signature exclamation, and "Eat my shorts," Bart's rebellious catchphrase, are instantly recognisable worldwide. Additionally, The Simpsons has been credited with predicting real-world events, including Donald Trump's presidency, smartwatches, and even the Disney-Fox merger. One of the biggest reasons for The Simpsons' longevity is its ability to evolve with the times. The show continuously updates its humour to reflect current events, pop culture trends and changing social attitudes. With a massive rotating cast of guest stars, including politicians, musicians and Hollywood celebrities, the series keeps itself relevant while maintaining its classic humour and charm. Despite its historic success, The Simpsons has faced criticism over the years. Many fans argue that the earlier seasons, particularly seasons 3 to 10, were the show's golden age, while later seasons have struggled to maintain the same sharp writing and cultural significance. Additionally, the portrayal of certain characters, such as Apu Nahasapima Petilon, has sparked debates about representation in media. Still, the show's fan base remains strong, and it continues to draw millions of viewers worldwide. With over 35 seasons, a feature film, The Simpsons movie released in 2007, and dozens of awards, The Simpsons is more than just a TV show. It's a global phenomenon. It has shaped the landscape of television comedy, paving the way for animated sitcoms and pushing the boundaries of satire. Whether it continues for another decade or eventually comes to an end, The Simpsons has already cemented its place in television history as the longest-running and one of the most influential scripted TV shows of all time.
On April 23, 2005, a historic moment in internet history took place. The first ever YouTube video was uploaded. Titled Me at the Zoo, the 18-second clip features Jord Karim, one of YouTube's co-founders, standing in front of elephants at the San Diego Zoo. While it may seem like a simple and unremarkable video, this upload marked the beginning of what would become one of the largest and most influential platforms in the world. YouTube was founded by Jord Karim, Steve Chen and Chad Hurley, three former PayPal employees who wanted to create an easy way for people to upload and share videos online. At the time, there were very few user-friendly platforms for sharing video content. Inspired by the challenges of finding and posting videos online, the trio launched YouTube.com on February 14, 2005, and a couple of months later, Me at the Zoo became its first upload. The video itself is simple and casual. Jawed Karim stands in front of elephants at the San Diego Zoo and briefly talks about their really, really long trunks. While it may not seem groundbreaking, this short clip symbolized the start of a new era of content creation. Unlike television or professional productions, YouTube allowed anyone with a camera to share videos with the world. After its launch, YouTube quickly gained popularity. By November 2006, just over a year after Me at the Zoo was uploaded, Google acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion in stock. The platform expanded rapidly, attracting millions of users, and it became the go-to site for videos ranging from entertainment and education to vlogs and viral challenges. Today, YouTube has over 2.5 billion monthly active users and more than 500 hours of video uploaded every minute. Despite being a simple video, Me at the Zoo holds a special place in internet history. It represents the birth of online video sharing culture, paving the way for content creators, influencers, and vloggers who now dominate the digital landscape. The video itself remains one of the most watched first videos on any platform, with millions of views. From its humble beginning with Me at the Zoo, YouTube has grown into a global powerhouse, transforming entertainment, news, and education. Today, YouTube hosts everything from viral videos and documentaries to full-length movies and live broadcasts. And it all started with a short, unscripted video at a zoo, proving that sometimes the smallest moments can create the biggest revolutions.
Before becoming the beloved family classic we know today, E.T. the Extraterrestrial was originally conceived as a horror film. The idea for the movie came from legendary director Steven Spielberg, but in its earliest form, the script told a much darker and scarier story. The original concept was titled Night Skies, and it focused on hostile alien invaders terrorizing a rural family. This eerie premise was a far cry from the heartwarming tale of friendship that eventually became E.T. The story of E.T. began in the late 1970s after the success of Spielberg's sci-fi masterpiece, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. While working on the project, Spielberg became fascinated with the idea of aliens visiting Earth. Inspired by a real-life incident in which a Kentucky family claimed to have been attacked by alien creatures, Spielberg initially wanted to explore a darker version of an extraterrestrial encounter. He hired John Sayles, a screenwriter known for his work in science fiction, to develop a script titled Night Skies. The film would have featured a group of violent aliens attacking a rural farmhouse, terrifying the family inside. One of these aliens, however, would have been a gentle and kind-hearted creature, forming a bond with the family's youngest child. This character later evolved into E.T. While Spielberg found the concept of Night Skies intriguing, he ultimately felt that making a horror movie about aliens didn't align with his creative vision. He was more interested in telling a story of friendship and wonder, rather than fear and terror. Around this time, he also realized that the subplot involving the gentle alien bonding with a child was the most emotionally compelling part of the script. Spielberg scrapped Night Skies and instead focused on creating a more personal, heartfelt film. He worked with screenwriter Melissa Matheson, who helped transform the idea into a child-friendly adventure about a lost alien and his bond with a young boy, Elliot. This reimagining led to the birth of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which was released in 1982 and became one of the most iconic and successful films of all time. Although Night Skies was never made, its influence can be seen in several later projects. Elements of the horror concept resurfaced in Spielberg's 2002 film Signs, which featured hostile aliens terrorizing a farmhouse. Additionally, the design of E.T. was partially inspired by Night Skies, as Spielberg had originally envisioned the film's aliens with elongated necks and large eyes. Interestingly, the idea of a group of children encountering something supernatural also played a role in inspiring Stranger Things, a show that pays tribute to E.T. and other classic 1980s sci-fi films. What started as a dark and terrifying alien invasion story evolved into one of the most touching and beloved films of all time. Had Spielberg gone forward with Night Skies, the world may have never experienced the emotional and magical journey of E.T. This shift from horror to heartfelt storytelling is a testament to Spielberg's instincts as a filmmaker, turning what could have been a terrifying alien thriller into a timeless tale of friendship and wonder.
Winnie the Pooh, the beloved honey-loving bear created by A.A. Milner, has surprisingly been banned or censored in certain places for a variety of reasons. While the stories are widely cherished for their warmth, innocence and philosophical depth, some regions have deemed the character inappropriate due to political, cultural or ideological concerns. One of the most well-known instances of Winnie the Pooh being banned is in China. The Chinese government took offence to the use of Pooh as a satirical symbol to mock President Xi Jinping. Comparisons between the bear and the Chinese leader began circulating online in the early 2010s, often highlighting similarities between Xi's appearance and the round, friendly bear. As these memes gained popularity, the government responded by censoring images and references to Winnie the Pooh on social media platforms. This ban extended beyond digital spaces, with the character being restricted in books, merchandise and even certain public appearances. Beyond political concerns, Winnie the Pooh has faced bans in other parts of the world for different reasons. In Poland and some regions in Turkey, officials have criticised the bear for not wearing pants, arguing that this makes him an inappropriate character for children. Some conservative groups have also objected to the character's supposed androgynous nature, believing it challenges traditional gender norms. Although these concerns may seem trivial to most, they have led to occasional restrictions on the use of Winnie the Pooh in educational and public settings. Despite these controversies, Winnie the Pooh remains an enduring symbol of childhood nostalgia and gentle wisdom. While certain governments and institutions may try to suppress the character, his stories continue to be treasured by fans worldwide, reminding people of the simple joys of friendship, kindness and curiosity.
The Terminator's iconic line, "I'll be back," almost took a different form during production. The 1984 sci-fi classic, directed by James Cameron and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, cemented itself in pop culture history with this simple yet powerful phrase. However, what many don't know is that this legendary line was nearly spoken as "I'll come back," which could have drastically altered its impact. During filming, Schwarzenegger and Cameron reportedly debated over the phrasing of the line. Schwarzenegger, who was still perfecting his English at the time, found "I'll be back" somewhat unnatural to say, and he suggested "I will come back" instead, believing it sounded more robotic and fitting for the character of the Terminator. Cameron, however, insisted on keeping the line as written, arguing that "I'll be back" had a smoother and more memorable rhythm. He also emphasized that the shorter phrase sounded more natural in conversation and would likely have a stronger impact on audiences. In hindsight, Cameron's decision proved to be the right one. When "I'll be back" was delivered in Schwarzenegger's deep monotone voice, it became an instantly unforgettable moment in cinematic history. The line was later repeated in various forms throughout the Terminator franchise, and has been frequently referenced in pop culture, from movies and TV shows to political speeches and everyday conversations. It is now considered one of the greatest movie quotes of all time, even ranking on the American Film Institute's list of top movie quotes. Had the line been altered to "I'll come back," it might not have carried the same weight or cultural resonance. The power of "I'll be back" lies in its brevity and simplicity, making it a perfect example of how even minor script changes can influence the lasting legacy of a film.
The Titanic's distress signal is a key moment in maritime history because it marked one of the first high-profile uses of the SOS signal, helping to establish it as the international standard. Before SOS, ships primarily relied on CQD, a distress call created by the Marconi Company in 1904. The meaning of CQD has been debated, Some say it stood for "Come Quick Danger," while others claim it simply meant general call, distress, with the letters themselves not standing for specific words. Regardless of its exact meaning, CQD was the widely recognized emergency call among ships using Marconi wireless equipment, which included the Titanic. However, by 1908, international maritime authorities had agreed on SOS as the new standard distress signal. The main reason for this change was that SOS, 3 short, 3 long, 3 short in Morse code, was much easier to recognize than CQD, especially in poor radio conditions or when signals were faint. Unlike CQD, which could sometimes be mistaken for other transmissions, SOS was simple, unmistakable, and easy to transmit quickly. Despite this, many ships, particularly British ones operating under the Marconi system, still use CQD out of habit, and the transition to SOS was slow. When the Titanic struck an iceberg late on the night of April 14, 1912, and began taking on water, senior wireless operator Jack Phillips initially transmitted CQD as the distress signal. He repeatedly sent out messages such as CQD, 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 MGY, the Titanic's call sign, "We have struck an iceberg, sinking fast, come to our assistance." Junior operator Harold Bride, who was assisting Phillips, then suggested they also try SOS, remarking that it was a new signal and that it might be their last chance to use it. Phillips then alternated between sending CQD and SOS, hoping to increase the chances of their message being received. The distress signals were eventually picked up by the RMS Carpathia, a passenger liner about 58 miles away. Upon receiving the call, the Carpathia immediately changed course and raced toward the Titanic's last known position, navigating dangerous ice fields in the dark. Unfortunately, despite traveling at full speed, the Carpathia took over 3 hours to reach the site, arriving long after the Titanic had sunk. By the time rescuers arrived, more than 1,500 people had perished, with only around 700 survivors in lifeboats. Although the Titanic was not the absolute first ship to use SOS, its use of the signal in such a high-profile disaster helped cement SOS as the universally recognized distress call. In the wake of the tragedy, maritime safety regulations were significantly improved. The disaster led to the establishment of the Radio Act of 1912, which required 24-hour radio watch on passenger ships, ensuring that distress signals would not go unanswered. It also contributed to the creation of the International Ice Patrol and improvements in lifeboat regulations. The Titanic's distress signals remain one of the most poignant aspects of the disaster, symbolizing both the desperate attempts to call for help and the tragic inefficiencies of early 20th century maritime communication. Today, SOS is universally recognized as a distress signal used in emergencies far beyond maritime settings, including aviation and even general survival situations. The Titanic played a crucial role in the adoption and widespread recognition of SOS, ensuring that future distress calls would be clearer, faster, and more effective in saving lives.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop, had a well-documented fascination with comic books. And at one point, he even attempted to buy Marvel Comics in order to fulfill his dream of playing Spider-Man. This lesser-known chapter of Jackson's life highlights his deep love for superheroes and his ambition to expand his career beyond music and into film. During the 1990s, Marvel Comics was struggling financially and was on the verge of bankruptcy. Seeing an opportunity, Michael Jackson reportedly explored the idea of purchasing the company. His main motivation? He wanted to secure the rights to Spider-Man so that he could portray the iconic superhero in a movie. Jackson was a huge fan of the character and saw himself as a natural fit for the role. He even approached legendary comic book creator Stan Lee about his ambitions, discussing the possibility of acquiring Marvel to make his Spider-Man dreams a reality. Stan Lee, the co-creator of Spider-Man and other Marvel superheroes, later confirmed in interviews that Jackson had seriously considered the purchase. According to Lee, Jackson was very passionate about the idea and saw it as a way to break into Hollywood in a major way. However, the deal never came to fruition, and Marvel ultimately survived its financial troubles, later being bought by Disney in 2009 for $4 billion. Despite failing to acquire Marvel, Jackson still pursued his Hollywood aspirations in other ways. He had previously starred in films like Moonwalker in 1988 and had even auditioned for the role of Professor X in X-Men in 2000, though he was ultimately passed over for Patrick Stewart. While his dream of becoming Spider-Man never materialized, his attempt to buy Marvel remains a fascinating what-if scenario in both comic book and entertainment history. Had Jackson succeeded in his bid to buy Marvel, it's intriguing to imagine how the superhero film landscape might have changed. His version of Spider-Man would likely have been vastly different from the ones portrayed by Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland. While the idea may sound unusual today, it speaks to Jackson's boundless ambition and his willingness to think outside the box in pursuit of his creative passions.
One of the most iconic visual elements of The Matrix, released in 1999, is its cascading green digital rain, streams of glowing green characters that represent the simulated reality of The Matrix itself. This distinctive code, which has become synonymous with the film and its cyberpunk aesthetic, has an amusing and unexpected origin. It is actually made up of Japanese sushi recipes. Simon Whiteley, a production designer for The Matrix, revealed in an interview that he was responsible for creating the famous green code. To achieve the look, he scanned characters from a Japanese cookbook that belonged to his wife. The text primarily consisted of katakana, hiragana, and kanji characters, many of which were part of sushi recipes. Whiteley then manipulated the characters digitally, arranging them into the mesmerizing streams of green symbols that became the visual representation of the Matrix's programming. This revelation adds an ironic and humorous twist to the film's deep philosophical themes about reality, simulation, and artificial intelligence. While audiences might have assumed the Matrix code was composed of complex algorithms or hidden messages, it is in reality a simple aesthetic effect derived from everyday Japanese cooking instructions. The digital rain effect became one of the most recognizable elements of the Matrix franchise, used in sequels, spin-offs, and marketing materials. It has since been widely referenced and parodied in pop culture, further cementing its status as one of the most memorable images in cinematic history. The fact that its origins lie in something as ordinary as sushi recipes only adds to the film's mystique and charm, showing how creative inspiration can come from the most unexpected places.
Keanu Reeves is widely known for his generosity, and one of the most remarkable examples of this was his decision to give away a significant portion of his earnings from the Matrix films to the crew members who worked behind the scenes. While Reeves made a substantial salary from the trilogy, he prioritized ensuring that the people responsible for bringing the films to life, particularly the special effects and costume teams, were properly rewarded for their efforts. Reeves reportedly gave away tens of millions of dollars from his Matrix earnings, particularly his back-end profits from the sequels. Some reports suggest that he forfeited nearly $75 million of his potential earnings, allowing it to be distributed among the visual effects and costume departments. His reasoning was that these crews were the true unsung heroes of the films, working tirelessly to create the groundbreaking visual effects and futuristic aesthetics that made The Matrix a cinematic revolution. Reeves believed that without their expertise, the movie's success would not have been possible, and he wanted them to share in the financial rewards. In addition to this extraordinary act of generosity, Reeves is also known for treating stunt performers with great respect. During the Matrix films, he gifted Harley-Davidson motorcycles to several stunt crew members as a token of appreciation for their hard work. He has repeated similar gestures in other films, such as buying Rolex watches for the stunt team on John Wick 4. These acts have only added to Reeves's reputation as one of the most humble and kind-hearted actors in Hollywood. Keanu Reeves' willingness to share his wealth, especially with the crew members who typically go unnoticed, has cemented his legacy not just as an action star, but as one of the most genuinely kind figures in the entertainment industry. While many actors negotiate for larger paychecks, Reeves has repeatedly shown that his priorities go beyond money, focusing instead on gratitude, fairness, and uplifting those around him. His generosity remains one of the many reasons why he is so beloved by fans and respected by his colleagues.
A group of crows is famously called a murder, a term that has fascinated and intrigued people for centuries. Unlike more straightforward collective nouns like a flock or herd, murder carries a dark and mysterious connotation that perfectly suits these intelligent and often misunderstood birds. The origin of this term dates back to the late Middle Ages, when poetic and dramatic names were given to groups of animals. These names, known as terms of venery or nouns of assembly, often reflected popular beliefs or characteristics associated with the species. The word murder likely arose from the long-standing association between crows and death. In medieval Europe, crows and their relatives, such as ravens, were often seen scavenging battlefields, gallows and graveyards, reinforcing their eerie reputation. Their black feathers, sharp calls, and habit of gathering in large numbers contributed to the perception of them as ominous creatures. Folklore and superstition further fueled this image, with some cultures believing that crows were harbingers of death or messengers from the spirit world. Despite their grim reputation, crows are among the most intelligent birds on the planet. Studies have shown that they possess remarkable problem-solving abilities, tool usage, and even facial recognition skills. They can remember human faces, hold grudges, and teach their knowledge to other crows, demonstrating a level of social intelligence rarely seen in birds. Their ability to work together and warn each other of danger is another reason why they often gather in large numbers, forming what we call a murder. While the term murder of crows may sound ominous, it is mostly used in a poetic or humorous sense today. In reality, crows are highly social birds that rely on their group dynamics for survival. Their gatherings, while sometimes noisy and chaotic, are essential for communication, protection, and finding food. Whether seen as eerie omens or simply as clever birds, crows continue to captivate human imagination, living up to their legendary and mysterious name. It may come as a surprise, but there are actually more public libraries in the United States than McDonald's restaurants. While McDonald's is one of the most recognizable fast food chains in the world, with thousands of locations across the country, public libraries quietly outnumber them, demonstrating the enduring value of free access to knowledge and community resources. As of recent counts, there are around 17,000 public libraries in the US, compared to approximately 13,500 McDonald's locations. This number includes both main library branches and smaller community branches, showing how widespread and accessible libraries are across the country. Despite the fast food industry's dominance in American culture, libraries have maintained a strong presence, continuing to serve as vital centers for education, research, and public programs. Public libraries offer much more than just books. They provide free internet access, job search assistance, literacy programs, and even social services, making them an essential resource for many communities. Libraries play a particularly important role in rural and underserved areas where access to technology and educational materials might be limited. Unlike McDonald's, which focuses on convenience and quick meals, libraries prioritize lifelong learning and community engagement, showing a different kind of investment in the well-being of American society. The fact that libraries outnumber McDonald's also highlights the resilience of public institutions in an era dominated by digital media. While some have speculated that libraries might become obsolete due to the rise of e-books and the internet, their continued presence proves that they are still highly valued. People still turn to libraries for quiet study spaces, book recommendations, and access to free educational resources that fast food chains, no matter how widespread, simply cannot provide. This statistic is a testament to the power of knowledge and the enduring importance of libraries in the modern world.
Despite being commonly associated with Chinese cuisine, fortune cookies were actually invented in the United States, not China. While they are a staple at Chinese restaurants across America, most people in China are unfamiliar with them, and they are rarely found in traditional Chinese culture or cuisine. Their true origins can be traced back to Japanese-American communities in California during the early 20th century. The invention of the fortune cookie is widely debated, but it is generally believed to have originated in San Francisco or Los Angeles in the early 1900s. One theory credits a Japanese immigrant named Makoto Hagiwara, who ran the Japanese tea garden in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. Hagiwara is said to have introduced a version of the cookie in the 1910s, based on a traditional Japanese cracker called Sujura Senbei, which contained small paper fortunes. These cookies were slightly larger, less sweet, and made with sesame oil rather than butter or vanilla. Another claim comes from Los Angeles, where a Chinese-American businessman named David Jung, the founder of the Hong Kong Noodle Company, reportedly invented the fortune cookie around the same time. According to this story, Jung created the cookies in 1918 and distributed them for free to the poor, each one containing an uplifting message of encouragement. While both claims have merit, it was ultimately the San Francisco versus Los Angeles fortune cookie war that led to a court ruling in 1983, deciding that the modern fortune cookie was first popularized in San Francisco. After their invention, fortune cookies became a popular addition to Chinese-American restaurants, particularly after World War II, when they were mass-produced and marketed as a fun, exotic treat. The cookie's association with Chinese cuisine likely came from the growing number of Chinese restaurants in the United States that adapted them as a way to entertain and engage customers. However, in China, fortune cookies remain largely unknown, and visitors who expect to find them in Chinese restaurants abroad are often surprised when they don't. The fortune cookie's American origins highlight how cultures blend and evolve, creating new traditions that become widely accepted. Though they may not be authentically Chinese, fortune cookies have become an iconic part of the Chinese-American dining experience, serving as a symbol of good luck and a fun way to end a meal.
Many people use the phrase "in a jiffy" to mean very quickly, but few realize that a jiffy is an actual scientific unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy typically refers to 1/100th of a second or 10 milliseconds, though its exact definition can vary depending on the field of study. The term was first coined by physical chemist Gilbert Newton Lewis in the early 20th century. Lewis used jiffy to describe the amount of time it takes for light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33.3 picoseconds or trillionths of a second. However, the term has since been adapted for different scientific contexts, leading to multiple definitions. In electronics and computing, a jiffy is often defined as the length of one cycle of an alternating current power supply. In the United States, where the AC frequency is 60 Hz, a jiffy is 1/60th of a second, while in regions with 50 Hz power supplies, a jiffy is 1/50th of a second. In computer science, a jiffy is sometimes used to refer to the time between system clock ticks, which can vary depending on the hardware and software. Despite its precise scientific uses, jiffy is most commonly used in everyday language as a casual way to describe something happening quickly. However, knowing that a jiffy has a real, measurable meaning adds an interesting twist to the phrase. Whether in physics, computing, or casual speech, a jiffy remains a small yet fascinating unit of time.
It may seem ironic, but Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, was reportedly afraid of the dark. While there is no definitive proof of this claim, stories and anecdotes suggest that Edison had an aversion to darkness, which some speculate may have influenced his relentless pursuit of electric lighting. Given his lifelong dedication to innovation and his numerous experiments with electricity, the idea that he sought to conquer his own fear with one of his greatest inventions is an intriguing possibility. Edison was a prolific inventor, holding over 1,000 patents, and his development of the practical incandescent light bulb in the late 19th century revolutionized the way people lived. Before the widespread use of electric light, people relied on candles, oil lamps and gas lighting, which were often dim, expensive and hazardous. Edison's light bulb provided a safer, more reliable alternative, extending the hours in which people could work and socialize. His invention played a crucial role in modernizing cities and homes, eliminating the need for darkness in many aspects of daily life. The idea that Edison feared the dark aligns with his well-documented obsession with sleep and productivity. He was known for his irregular sleep habits, often taking short naps instead of sleeping through the night. Some accounts suggest that he preferred to sleep in brightly lit rooms and kept multiple light sources around him at all times. Whether this behavior stemmed from a genuine fear of darkness or simply his love for artificial light remains a mystery. While the claim about Edison's fear of the dark is difficult to verify, it adds an interesting layer to his legacy. Whether or not his fear directly influenced his inventions, his contributions to electric lighting undeniably changed the world, making darkness far less of an obstacle in everyday life. If the story is true, it would be a fitting example of how personal challenges can inspire some of the greatest technological advancements in history.
Off the coast of Japan, there is a small mysterious island known as Okunoshima, often referred to as Rabbit Island because it is inhabited almost exclusively by hundreds of wild rabbits. This island, located in the inland sea of Japan in Hiroshima Prefecture, has become a popular tourist destination for animal lovers who visit to interact with the friendly, free-roaming bunnies. However, despite its now adorable reputation, Okunoshima has a much darker history. During World War II, Okunoshima was used as a secret chemical weapons testing facility by the Japanese Imperial Army. The island housed a factory that produced poisonous gases, including mustard gas, which was used in warfare. Because of the dangerous nature of the experiments conducted there, the island was erased from official maps to keep its existence hidden from the public. After the war ended, the chemical plant was abandoned and efforts were made to decontaminate the area. The exact origin of the rabbit population remains uncertain, but there are two main theories. One theory suggests that the rabbits were originally test subjects for the chemical experiments, and when the factory was shut down, they were either released or escaped. However, there is no solid evidence to support this claim, as it is believed that any test animals would not have survived the exposure to toxic substances. The more widely accepted theory is that rabbits were introduced to the island by tourists in the 1970s, and without any natural predators, their population quickly grew. Today, the island is completely safe for visitors, and the Okunoshima Poison Gas Museum serves as a reminder of its wartime past. Despite its dark history, the island has transformed into a peaceful wildlife sanctuary, attracting thousands of tourists who come to feed and play with the rabbits. Hunting and bringing predators to the island are strictly prohibited to protect the rabbit population, making it a true paradise for these animals. Okunoshima is a fascinating example of how a place can be repurposed over time, turning from a site of war into a unique and heartwarming attraction. Whether you visit for the historical significance or the adorable bunnies, Rabbit Island remains one of Japan's most unusual and enchanting destinations.
The most expensive book ever sold is Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester, which was purchased for $30.8 million in 1994 by Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. This rare manuscript, written by da Vinci in the early 16th century, is a collection of scientific writings, sketches and observations, reflecting the Renaissance genius's insatiable curiosity about the natural world. The Codex Leicester consists of 72 pages filled with da Vinci's handwritten notes and illustrations, written in his distinctive mirror script, a technique where he wrote from right to left, requiring a mirror to read the text. The notebook primarily explores water, astronomy, geology and light, including theories about the movement of water, the reflection of the moon's light, and even ideas that foreshadowed modern scientific discoveries. The Codex Leicester offers a fascinating glimpse into da Vinci's mind, with pages dedicated to topics as varied as the properties of fossils, the formation of mountains, and the luminosity of the moon. Each page is a testament to his relentless pursuit of knowledge and his ability to see connections between seemingly unrelated phenomena. It's, a true masterpiece of scientific thought and artistic expression. Originally compiled between 1506 and 1510, the Codex changed hands multiple times before becoming the most expensive book in history. It was named after Thomas Coke, the Earl of Leicester, who acquired it in 1717. The manuscript remained in his family's possession for over 250 years until it was sold in 1980 to wealthy businessman Armand Hammer, who briefly renamed it the Codex Hammer. After Hammer's death, the manuscript was auctioned in 1994, with Bill Gates emerging as the winning bidder. Since acquiring the Codex, Gates has digitized its pages and allowed portions of it to be displayed in museums worldwide, ensuring that Leonardo da Vinci's insights are accessible to the public. The manuscript remains an invaluable piece of history, showcasing the boundless intellect of one of the greatest minds of all time. Its record-breaking price reflects not only its rarity, but also the immense value placed on Da Vinci's contributions to art, science, and human knowledge.
In Japan, some traffic lights appear blue instead of green, a unique phenomenon that can be traced back to both linguistic history and government regulations. While the lights function just like standard green traffic signals elsewhere, their distinct bluish tint is the result of an unusual intersection between language and law. The reason behind Japan's blue-appearing traffic lights originates from the way colors are historically classified in the Japanese language. Traditionally, Japanese had only 4 primary color terms: black, kuro, white, shiro, red, aka, and blue, ao. For centuries, the word ao-ching was used to describe a broad range of colors, including shades that would be considered green in modern English. Over time, a distinct word for green, midori, lu, emerged, but even today, some green things in Japan are still referred to as ao. For example, green apples, green vegetables, and even traffic signals are often described as ao instead of midori, reflecting this historical color classification. Japan originally followed international traffic signal standards using clearly green lights. However, because the Japanese language continued to refer to them as AO, there was pressure to make the lights appear as blue as possible while still being legally green. In 1973, the Japanese government responded by modifying traffic light standards to allow the bluest possible shade of green that would still meet international regulations. As a result, some traffic signals in Japan have a noticeably bluish-green hue, making them appear distinctly blue compared to the bright green traffic lights seen in other countries. While not all Japanese traffic lights appear blue, many in certain regions or newer installations use this blue-green tint. To a foreign visitor, it might seem like Japan has blue traffic lights, but technically they are still classified as green. This unusual phenomenon is a perfect example of how language and culture can influence even everyday infrastructure like traffic signals.
In Iceland, there is a one-of-a-kind library known as the Library of Rejected Manuscripts, a sanctuary for literary works that were turned down by publishers. Located in the small town of Flateyri, this library was created as a response to the often harsh realities of the publishing industry, giving rejected authors a second chance to have their work preserved and appreciated. The library was founded by Icelandic publisher Elias Snæland Jonsson, with the belief that rejection does not necessarily mean a book lacks value. Many famous works throughout history were initially rejected before eventually becoming classics. So this library serves as a place where failed attempts can still find an audience. By collecting manuscripts that were denied by publishers, it allows authors to share their stories even if traditional publishing routes closed their doors. Iceland has a deep literary tradition, with one of the highest book publishing rates per capita in the world. The country's love for books is so strong that it has an annual tradition called Jólabókaflóðið, or the Christmas book flood, where people give and receive books as gifts during the holiday season. However, despite this thriving literary culture, not all aspiring authors get published, which is where the Library of Rejected Manuscripts comes in. The library accepts manuscripts from any genre and any country, so long as they have been rejected by at least one publisher. Some of these books might never reach mainstream readers, but they still have a home where they can be read, studied, and appreciated by visitors. It serves as a reminder that rejection is not the end of creativity. Many great authors, including J.K. Rowling and Stephen King, faced multiple rejections before their works became successful. For writers, the Library of Rejected Manuscripts is not just a collection of failed works, but a symbol of perseverance. It encourages authors to keep writing, keep submitting, and keep believing in their ideas. Some of the rejected books stored here may one day find new life, be revised, or even be rediscovered as hidden gems. This Icelandic library stands as proof that every story deserves a place, even if it doesn't fit the traditional mold of publishing success.
The Eiffel Tower, one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, has a secret apartment at its top that was once used by its designer, Gustave Eiffel. Hidden away from public view, this small yet cosy space was a private retreat where Eiffel could work, reflect and entertain special guests, including some of the most famous figures of his time. When designing the Eiffel Tower in the late 19th century, Gustave Eiffel included a private apartment near the top at about 1,000 feet, or 300 meters, above the ground. Unlike the cold industrial structure of the tower itself, this apartment was designed with warm wooden furniture, patterned wallpaper, and a piano, giving it a surprisingly homey feel. It also had a laboratory where Eiffel conducted scientific experiments related to astronomy, physics, and meteorology. The existence of Eiffel's secret apartment became widely known shortly after the tower was completed in 1889, and it quickly became the subject of public fascination. Many wealthy Parisians and influential figures offered large sums of money to rent or stay in the space. But Eiffel refused every request. He preferred to keep it as his own private retreat, using it to host important guests, including Thomas Edison, who famously visited the apartment and gifted Eiffel a phonograph as a token of appreciation. While some believe Eiffel designed the apartment purely for personal use, others suggest it was meant to demonstrate the tower's potential for scientific research. At the time, the Eiffel Tower was not just a landmark, but a cutting-edge engineering project, and Eiffel used the space to conduct experiments with radio signals, wind resistance, and atmospheric pressure. His work in the apartment ultimately helped pave the way for modern telecommunications and meteorology. For many years, Eiffel's private space remained closed to the public. However, today, visitors can catch a glimpse of the apartment through a small viewing window, where mannequins of Eiffel and Edison are displayed inside. Though small and simple, the apartment remains a fascinating piece of history, revealing a more personal side of the man who forever changed the Parisian skyline. Gustave Eiffel's secret apartment is a hidden treasure within one of the world's most famous monuments, offering insight into the mind of a visionary who not only built an engineering marvel, but also found a way to enjoy it from the best seat in Paris.
Time zones create an interesting quirk in the way we experience time, making it possible for someone to celebrate their birthday twice in one day. The Earth is divided into 24 time zones, each generally 1 hour apart, though some have half-hour or even 45-minute differences. Because of this, different parts of the world experience the same calendar date at different times. This means that if a person were to travel backward across time zones after celebrating their birthday in one location, they could reach another place where their birthday is still ongoing. For example, imagine someone celebrating their birthday in Japan, which is ahead of many countries in terms of time. If they then boarded a flight to Hawaii, which is many hours behind, they would land in a place where their birthday is still happening according to the local time. This allows them to extend their celebrations and, in a way, relive part of their special day. This phenomenon isn't just limited to birthdays, it applies to any significant event based on dates, including New Year's celebrations. Some travelers even plan trips specifically to take advantage of this time zone trick, ensuring they get extra hours to enjoy their big day. It's a fun and unique way to bend time, at least from a human perspective, and make the most of a special occasion.
The word alphabet has its roots in the Greek language, specifically from the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, alpha and beta. The term alphabet itself is a combination of these two names, reflecting the fundamental building blocks of written language. This connection highlights the deep influence of ancient Greek on modern linguistic concepts, especially in the development of writing systems. The Greek alphabet, which dates back to around the 8th century BCE, was adapted from the earlier Phoenician script. The Phoenicians, a seafaring civilization in the Mediterranean, used a consonant-based writing system which the Greeks modified by adding vowels, creating one of the first true alphabets. This system greatly influenced the Latin alphabet, which is the basis for English and many other languages today. The impact of the Greek alphabet goes beyond just the word alphabet. Many modern terms, especially in science and mathematics, still use Greek letters such as pi in mathematics or omega in physics. The influence of this writing system has shaped the way languages are written and structured, making it a foundational part of global communication.
Unlike the other planets in our solar system, Earth is the only one that is not named after a god from mythology. The names of the other planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, are all derived from Roman deities, reflecting the influence of ancient Roman and Greek culture on astronomy. For example, Mars is named after the Roman god of war due to its reddish, blood-like appearance, and Jupiter, the largest planet, is named after the king of the Roman gods. The name Earth comes from Old English and Germanic origins, rather than mythology. The Old English word Eorda and its Germanic counterpart Erda both meant ground or soil. Unlike the other planets, which were named by ancient astronomers who studied them as celestial bodies, Earth was historically seen more as the land people lived on rather than a planet in space. Since early civilizations didn't initially recognize Earth as a planet like the others, it never received a name based on a god or deity. It wasn't until later scientific advancements that Earth was fully understood as a planet in its own right, orbiting the Sun just like the others. By that time, the name Earth was already deeply rooted in language and culture, and no mythological renaming occurred. This makes Earth unique not only in its ability to sustain life, but also in its name, which connects it more to the ground beneath our feet than to the divine figures of ancient mythology.
Light, while famously fast, does not always travel at the same speed. In a vacuum such as space, light moves at approximately 299,792,458 meters per second. This is considered the universal speed limit. However, when light enters a different medium such as water, its speed slows down by about 25% due to a phenomenon known as refraction. This slowing occurs because water is denser than a vacuum or air. As light waves pass through water molecules, they interact with the particles, causing the waves to scatter and effectively slow down. In water, light travels at roughly 225 million meters per second, which is significantly slower than in air or space. This effect is what causes objects to appear distorted or bent when viewed underwater, a classic example of refraction. The slowing of light in water has important real-world implications. For example, it affects underwater optics, meaning that divers and marine life experience a different perception of light and color. It also plays a crucial role in fiber optic communications, where light signals are transmitted through glass or water-based mediums, and understanding how light slows down helps optimize data transmission. Interestingly, different materials slow light down by varying amounts. Diamond, for example, slows light down even more than water, reducing its speed by nearly 60%. This property is one reason diamonds have their signature sparkle. Light bends and reflects internally before exiting. The fact that light isn't a constant speed everywhere, but rather changes depending on the medium it's traveling through, is a key principle in physics, helping scientists better understand the behavior of light and energy.
The idea that another Earth-like planet could exist somewhere in the universe isn't just science fiction. It's supported by mathematical probability and astrophysical observations. Given the vastness of the cosmos, with hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars, the chances of another planet similar to Earth existing are statistically quite high. Scientists estimate that there could be trillions of planets in the observable universe, making it likely that some of them have conditions similar to those of Earth. One of the key factors in finding another Earth-like planet is the Goldilocks zone, or habitable zone, which refers to the region around a star where conditions are just right for liquid water to exist. Since liquid water is essential for life as we know it, planets in this zone have a higher chance of supporting life. According to NASA's Kepler Space Telescope data, there are potentially billions of exoplanets, or planets outside our solar system, in habitable zones, some of which are Earth-sized and orbit stars similar to our Sun. Mathematically, scientists use the Drake equation, a formula that estimates the number of civilizations in our galaxy by considering factors like the rate of star formation, the fraction of stars with planets, and the probability of life developing. While the equation doesn't give an exact number, it suggests that Earth-like planets capable of supporting life may not be rare. Additionally, astronomers have already discovered promising candidates such as Kepler 452b, Proxima Centauri b, and TOI 700d, which are located in their respective habitable zones and have characteristics somewhat similar to Earth. However, confirming whether these planets truly resemble Earth in terms of atmosphere, water presence, and life-supporting conditions requires further study with advanced telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST. In summary, while we haven't yet found an exact replica of Earth, mathematics and probability strongly suggest that such a planet exists somewhere in the universe. With continuous advancements in space exploration, the discovery of a true Earth twin may just be a matter of time.
The small dot above the lowercase letter I, and also the letter J, is called a tittle. This tiny mark may seem insignificant, but it plays an important role in typography and language. The word tittle comes from the Latin word titulus, meaning inscription or heading. Over time, it evolved into a term for small marks or strokes in writing. The tittle helps differentiate lowercase I and J from similar-looking letters, especially in handwritten or cursive scripts. Without it, these letters could easily be mistaken for L or other characters, causing confusion in reading and writing. The introduction of the tittle made texts clearer and more legible, especially as writing styles evolved over centuries. Historically, not all alphabets or writing systems included a tittle. In early Latin and medieval manuscripts, scribes often wrote I without a dot, especially when it appeared next to tall letters like M or N. The dot became more standardized with the development of the printing press and modern typography, ensuring consistent and readable text. Beyond its practical function, the tittle has also found its way into language and culture. The phrase to dot your I's and cross your T's means paying close attention to detail, emphasizing the importance of even the smallest marks in writing. While often overlooked, the humble tittle is a small but essential part of written language, helping maintain clarity and distinction in words.
Lightning is one of nature's most powerful and frequent phenomena, striking Earth approximately 8 million times every day, which translates to about 100 lightning bolts per second worldwide. This incredible frequency occurs because thunderstorms are constantly forming across different regions of the planet, especially in areas with warm, humid air, where atmospheric conditions are ideal for electrical discharge. Lightning forms when static electricity builds up in storm clouds due to the collision of ice particles and water droplets. This creates a charge imbalance, with negatively charged particles accumulating at the bottom of the cloud and positive charges forming on the ground. When the charge difference becomes large enough, a sudden electrical discharge occurs, resulting in a lightning bolt that can travel at speeds of 270,000 miles per hour and reach temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, up to 30,000 Kelvin. While lightning can occur anywhere in the world, some locations experience far more strikes than others. Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela holds the record for the most lightning activity, with storms occurring more than 260 nights a year. Similarly, regions near the equator, such as Central Africa and Southeast Asia, see frequent lightning due to their warm, moist climates. Lightning is not just a spectacular natural event, it also has significant impacts on the environment and human life. It can ignite wildfires, cause power outages, and even pose a risk to people and buildings. However, it also plays an important role in nature by helping to produce nitrogen oxides, which contribute to the nitrogen cycle, enriching soil fertility. With advanced meteorology and lightning detection systems, scientists can now track lightning activity in real time, helping to predict severe weather and reduce risks. Despite its dangers, lightning remains a fascinating and essential part of Earth's natural processes, shaping the planet in ways both seen and unseen.
Email has become one of the most dominant forms of communication in the digital age, with a staggering 240 million emails sent every minute worldwide. This number highlights just how central email is to modern life, whether for personal messages, business communications, marketing, or even spam. With billions of people using email daily, it remains a crucial tool for staying connected in both professional and personal settings. The rapid rate of email transmission is made possible by the vast network of servers and internet infrastructure that supports digital communication. Emails travel almost instantaneously through data centers and cloud-based systems, ensuring that messages reach their recipients in seconds. Popular email services like Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo Mail handle a significant portion of this massive email traffic. However, not all emails are meaningful human interactions. A large percentage of emails sent every minute consist of spam, promotional messages, and automated notifications. In fact, spam accounts for over 45% of all email traffic, making cybersecurity and spam filters essential for protecting inboxes from phishing scams, malware, and other threats. The sheer volume of emails also raises concerns about data storage and environmental impact. Large-scale email servers require immense amounts of energy to operate, contributing to the overall carbon footprint of the internet. Simple actions like reducing unnecessary emails, unsubscribing from mailing lists, and deleting old messages can help minimize digital waste. Despite competition from instant messaging apps and social media, email continues to thrive as a primary form of communication. Its reliability, formal structure, and ability to send attachments make it indispensable for businesses, education, and official correspondence. With billions of users worldwide, email remains a cornerstone of the digital world, evolving alongside technology to meet the demands of an increasingly connected society.
The idea that folding a piece of paper 42 times would allow it to reach the moon sounds impossible at first, but it's a fascinating example of exponential growth in action. The reason behind this mind-blowing fact lies in how paper thickness doubles with each fold. Even though a standard sheet of paper is only about 0.1 millimeters thick, repeated folding causes its height to grow at an astonishing rate. Each time you fold the paper, its thickness doubles. After one fold, it's 0.2 millimeters thick. After two folds, it's 0.4 millimeters thick. After 10 folds, it's about 10 centimeters or 4 inches thick. After 20 folds, it reaches 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles, already higher than Mount Everest. By 42 folds, the paper's thickness surpasses 384,400 kilometers or 238,855 miles, the average distance from Earth to the Moon. This mind-bending concept is a perfect demonstration of exponential growth, where numbers increase at an accelerating rate rather than linearly. It's the same principle behind rapid population growth, compound interest, and even the way viruses spread. However, in reality, folding a piece of paper 42 times is nearly impossible due to physical limitations. Standard paper quickly becomes too thick and rigid to fold beyond 7 or 8 times, even with large sheets. The current world record for physically folding paper is 12 times, achieved with a giant sheet of ultra-thin material. Despite these real-world limitations, the math behind it is absolutely correct. This thought experiment serves as an incredible way to visualize how quickly numbers grow exponentially and helps us appreciate the surprising power of mathematics in understanding the universe.
In today's digital age, photography is more accessible than ever, and the number of pictures we take is staggering. Every 2 minutes, people around the world take more photos than all of humanity did throughout the entire 19th century. A fact that highlights just how drastically technology has changed the way we capture and preserve memories. During the 19th century, photography was a new and rare innovation. The first permanent photograph was taken in 1826 by Joseph Nicephore Nips, using a method called heliography. Early cameras were bulky, required long exposure times, and used complex chemical processes. As a result, taking photographs was expensive, time-consuming, and limited to professionals or the wealthy. By the late 1800s, with the invention of George Eastman's Kodak camera, photography became more accessible, but it was still nowhere near today's levels. Historians estimate that the total number of photos taken in the 19th century was in the millions, a tiny fraction compared to modern photography. Fast forward to today, and smartphones have completely revolutionized photography. With billions of people carrying high-quality cameras in their pockets, taking pictures has become instant, effortless, and free. Apps like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok encourage people to snap and share photos constantly. It's estimated that more than 1.8 trillion photos are taken each year, averaging about 5 billion photos per day. In just 2 minutes, we now capture more images than the entire 19th century combined. This explosion of photography has changed everything, from how we document history to how we interact with the world. While early photographs were rare and precious, today's images are often fleeting, stored in digital formats, and sometimes forgotten in vast online archives. The ease of taking pictures has made photography a part of daily life. But it also raises questions about privacy, digital clutter, and the value of an image in a world where pictures are endless. Nonetheless, the fact that we now take more photos in 2 minutes than in an entire century is a testament to how far technology has come. From a single blurry image in 1826 to billions of high-resolution selfies every day, photography has evolved into a universal language that shapes our culture, memories, and storytelling in ways the pioneers of the 19th century could never have imagined.
Thank you for watching. We hope these mind-blowing facts left you amazed and inspired. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because there's plenty more where that came from. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.